1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Once I got a fish alive. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the pre-match build-up. We kick off our Europa League campaign tonight against a familiar outfit, or at least it's a familiar outfit, sorry, to Erik ten Hag, his boyhood club, a club he's played for, a club he's coached as well. So a pretty emotional night, I would imagine, for him. He was talking in his presser about, you know, you don't necessarily want to play it, kill the things you love or something, I think the line was. I'm paraphrasing, don't quote me on that. But look, important night tonight for Erik ten Hag, of course, as always, when you are the manager of Manchester United. Important night for us as we kick off our Europa League campaign. We want to start strong. We do not want the start that we had in the Champions League and the way that kind of whole group stage went, which we'll talk about, sorry, for 5 or 10 minutes whilst we're in this kind of pre-match talk. But the lineups, not officially out, but we think this is how we're going to line up. So if there is anyone joining me and are excited for this fixture, please do smash the like on the video and subscribe to the channel. And also let me know all your thoughts on the game, the decisions that have been made. And yeah, so should we dive into the team news? Are we ready? Let's fucking do it. So, as you can see, we have, and Amadou Onana again, I was going to say, I need to stop doing that. Andre Onana in net. We've got Mazraoui at right back, Maguire and Lissandro. So De Ligt drops to the bench. We've got Delo at left back, as always, because we have no other kind of wing backs available. And we've got Ugarte and Eriksen and Bruno Fernandes in the midfield, which I think is very interesting and nicely balanced. And then you have Amad Diallo, Joshua Zirkzee and Marcus Rashford up top. So the players that drop to the bench, you've got Bayanda, De Ligt, Evans, Lindelof, Collier, Casemiro, Heaton, Mount, Mainu, Garnacho, Højlund and Antony. So some really good options off the bench there if we need it. Yeah, some big changes being made when you look at the team. Obvious one, obviously, De Ligt, probably resting him for the Tottenham game, I'd imagine, on the weekend, because he's played quite a lot of minutes now. He's kind of come straight into the team, and he's become, obviously, a regular alongside Lissandro. I thought it might be the other way. I thought he might go with Lissandro, maybe dropping to the bench. But, yeah, Lissandro obviously starting, the chief commander in that back line. Ugarte, being nice to see him. I think it's a step up now in level in competition. Of course, I think he started against Barnsley, if I'm correct, played about 70 or 80 minutes. Now it's like, okay, did good against Barnsley, did what you needed to do, put fires out, kept it simple, took it off the back line, and progressed the ball at times as well. And had a really kind of good work rate about you. Let's see how you deal in this game now, where it's Europa League level, you know, which is a higher level than the Carabao Cup, especially in the earlier stages. So it'd be nice to see him. I think Bruno definitely needs to step it up. We've spoken so many times about Bruno Fernandes and how, you know, at points he could probably be dropped if he keeps performing the way he's doing. So wasteful. You know, productivity is dropping completely. Whereas the flip side, the other midfielder who's in that kind of three is Christian Eriksen, who's been really, really good since he's come back into the team. A lot of us, when we speak about Eriksen, you know, over the summer, it was like, oh, it seems like he's, you know, going to go to Ajax for £5 million. We'll just have to see how, you know, wait and see how that kind of plays out. And then football's such a mad thing because he's just walked back into the team, and when no one expected it a little bit, I want to say, and become an important player. I think the quote that sticks in my mind from last season is when Casemiro got dragged off at half-time and he put Eriksen on, and he got asked about it after the game, obviously the manager, and he said, I wanted football. You know, he wants to play, and I think that's definitely what Eriksen brings. Playing between the lines, always playing the right pass. It's probably the most intelligent player we have, or at least up there. A proper midfield brain. So in the last game, I was complaining about Christian Eriksen starting. I thought Palace will hit us with transitions. They'll hit us through the middle, similar to what Wolves did. And Eriksen had a good game, so I'm not going to complain about it this time. I'm just going to, you know, let it be for what it is. And then the front three, Amad, Zirkzee and Rashford, I thought Antony may get a start. You saw a load of, not because he's earned it or anything, but you saw a load of kind of stats coming out around these guys, around Antony, that he's, you know, the last 3 Europa League appearances, he scored 2. Some nonsense like that anyway, those kind of stats that you always see. But yeah, Amad gets the nod, Zirkzee as well, which is really nice to see. I don't think Højlund's obviously ready to play a full 90 minutes, but I'm sure he'll get, you know, 20, 30 minutes tonight, similar to like Zirkzee did against Fulham. And then Marcus Rashford on the left, that's obviously the biggest talking point. A lot of speculation from Jamie Redknapp included, and then Paul Scholes as well on the fan debate was saying, I don't buy it. I think something kind of went on. I don't know. I just think people are speculating for the sake of it. Marcus Rashford's going to score tonight, I'm telling you. 100% going to score tonight. UTFR says Bayern Day should have started for me. I can see Eriksen playing in the 10 role and Bruno deeper. Potentially. There's been a lot of conversations about that, haven't they? About Bruno being... When he does drop into that back line, he can progress the ball really, really well, but he is a little bit erratic, and his positional discipline isn't great when you're playing a little bit deeper. But, you know, when you've got Ugarte there, the guy who puts fires out, it's, you know, you've got a specialist in that position, so it's not too bad. And yeah, I agree, Andy, 4 games on the bounce, God help Eriksen. Yeah, I think this game, again, though, is going to be one of those where, you know, it's a lot of possession, hopefully, at least. I think you're kind of hoping to set up a similar way like we did against Palace, aren't you? Where it's like, you want, rather than the first 45 be really comfortable and dominate chance creation and possession, you want the full 90 to be. So if it is that, in that case, it won't be as bad because the workload won't be as high as Eriksen. Whereas you look at last season, the way we was playing and the style, and it was chaotic, energetic, and it would just burn players out. So I think Eriksen's a bit more settled in the system, and you've got the runners in there anyway, you know. You've got Dalot who can help out and drop into midfield at times, so you can have Eriksen and Bruno really kind of pushing on when they need to be, and then you can have Lissandro, Maguire, Mazraoui sitting back, or Ugarte splitting the centre-backs, Mazraoui and Dalot bombing on. There's a few kind of tweaks you can make there, at least tactically, I believe. But I'm weirdly excited about this game tonight. I have no idea why. I've said it for a few days. Maybe that'll be taken out of me straight away. But I just think because we've been deprived with European football for so long. Yeah, I'm excited for the game. I'm always excited when United play anyway. But yeah, at Old Trafford, start of the Europa League campaign. It's a brand new format. You're not just playing 4 teams. You're going to play, you know, as many as 8, I think it is. You've got Porto with Bodo Glimt, Fenerbahce with Jose Mourinho. Yeah, I don't think I've ever been as excited about a Europa League campaign. And there's no substance or kind of reason for it. I know, it's bizarre. But let's flip the screen back and let's dive into a couple of more things that I want to talk about. So, yeah, you know, I mentioned the Champions League and Europa League, and Europe in general. Let's just cast our minds back to the Champions League campaign last season, right? And I know some of you don't want to do it, but just to give perspective and to see how much we've changed since that, because that group stage was absolutely awful, wasn't it? I think Andre Onana had, you know, people were ready to just sell him straight back to Inter Milan or take a loss on him. He had an absolute shock on the first game against Bayern Munich. There was a mistake. I think Leroy Sané, edge of the box, you know, doesn't do great with it, doesn't do well with it at all, goes into the net. Galatasaray game, you've got him giving mad passes to Casemiro and getting him sent off. And then you've got him making, let me just turn my lighting down a little bit because I feel like I'm literally looking like Casper the Friendly Ghost at the minute. That's a little bit better. Yeah, you had Andre Onana dropping clangers left, right, centre, didn't you? The Galatasaray game away, when we went, you know, Garnacho scored, Bruno Fernandes scored, and we had 2 free kicks from Ziyech, and just awful, absolutely awful. Tried dealing with it, absolutely failed. So, yeah, and then Copenhagen, there was mistakes in them games. I know we saved the penalty in one of them, but then we had a Marcus Rashford red card. Like, almost everything that could have gone wrong in that campaign pretty much did. And the amount of goals, I think we conceded 17 goals in that group stage campaign and finished below Copenhagen and below Galatasaray. It was fucking horrific. And actually, I don't think it gets spoken about enough, really. When we're discussing Erik ten Hag, and I've been an advocate for Erik ten Hag after the FA Cup final, I said it was the right decision. But really, when we was taking into account, you know, the whole kind of process and progress, we didn't really mention the Champions League because we went out in it early. It was almost became like, not a distant memory, because it's always going to be something that sticks in your head. You know, it's our worst campaign I think we've ever had. But yeah, it was just a weird when you had Rasmus, who was the top goal scorer in the group stage, and everyone was like kind of buzzing off that. We were scoring goals, but we was conceding a lot, and then the mistakes, and you're just like, oh, what is going on here? And we were so buzzing to be back into the Champions League, you know, because the season before, it was dreadful with Rangnick and Ole. We win a trophy, we're back in the Champions League. Let's go and compete amongst some of the best in the world, and we just didn't even do that. We was no way near it. Way too open defensively, and we had an absolute shocker of a campaign. So let's hope. I don't think it's going to go the same way Judging how we started this season, I expect it to be nowhere near that. So let's see the progress. Let's see what we've made since last season. Again, it's not as tough opposition, but it's still, you know, there's still some decent teams in there, I think. And I'm going to get into who I think are the favourites and who I think could be, potentially a tough game, especially the ones that we've got coming up. But I think United have to be in the hat and have to be in the mix to be the favourite at least. This lineup concerns me for Spurs game, just how Erik ten Hag rotates. Well, at least De Ligt's been... I think De Ligt probably needed to be dropped. One of the two centre-backs was going to go. Eriksen, I agree. I'm not the biggest fan. I think you could have played Casemiro and Ugarte and Bruno and you would have been fine. Ahmad, does he need resting? So, it's still early stages, still start of the season, isn't it? So, yeah. It's just nice to have a lot of options off the bench, innit? We've got Richard in the chat as well. Make sure you guys do smash like on the video and get involved, man. Get involved. Get your opinions in. 73% have said they're happy with the starting 11 and 27% have said they're not. So I'm guessing Andy's part of that 27%. Anyone else, if you're unhappy with the starting lineup, please do let me know. The question is, which player will be licking their lips to start tonight? That's another thing I want to mention. When we just quickly flip back to the screen, who on there or who off the bench is going to, kind of want to really stick out in the manager's mind? Because we've got Ugarte, who's been brought in as a signing anyway. He's probably thinking in his head, I'm probably going to be an important player in this system. They really need someone there. But, Harry Maguire coming in, missed the past couple of games, I think. I can't remember the last time he played, actually. I know he's had his own kind of injury struggles and stuff, but he's always done a job and done really well. And I'm sure he's not just happy to sit there on the bench. This is probably his last season at United. He wants to make an impact. He wants to show Ten Hag he can still be an option. Mazraoui and Dalot are just consistent players there anyway. There's no competition for them whatsoever at the minute. And what's nice to see is the competition levels isn't dropping because of that. They're still absolutely on it, and that's what you want from a professional. And some people think that's a given and that's a guaranteed, but it's not. It's not all the time. It's not. Bruno Fernandes, I think, has something to prove for sure, because I mean, we've spoken about it, guys, a lot. He's been pretty underwhelming. At least, start of season, he's been underwhelming. He's had one assist in the Premier League. The game against Palace frustrated a lot of people because of how wasteful he was, the chances that he's missing. We described him when me and the lads did a show. We were describing it as like, if you've got a band that's going, just 2 seconds. Such an itchy nose. Yeah, we described it. I don't know if you guys managed to catch the show that me, Chivy, and Sam did the other day. As we've got a band now in relation to our tactics, the way we want to play and the rhythm that's set up. And we've got, Eriksen playing the violin. You've got Lissandro, who's kind of, the back line with the, the harp. Like, you've got everyone kind of in tune and entwined, and it feels like Bruno's the one with the fucking bongos or the drums just going mad, and we're kind of like, whoa, this is the approach we're taking. You don't need to go 100% full force all the time, a million times a day. Like, we're not that team anymore from last year or the years before, where you have to be the main guy who makes everything happen. Like, I just think he needs to just temper it down slightly, I think. But if he keeps performing how he's doing, I think he should be dropped. Just because he's the captain, I don't think he should play every single game. I don't think anything should be a guarantee in this life, in this game. I don't know why I said this life. That sounds quite philosophical, but do you agree? Do you know what I mean? I don't think it should. Yeah. Why do we bring in Squarehead, a player of last resort like Johnny Evans? In fact, I would put Johnny ahead of him. No, I mean, Maguire's done all right. We can't drop Bruno Fernandes. We can. We certainly can. De Ligt and Maguire is interesting. Yeah, I don't get this notion you can't drop Bruno. You can. You fucking absolutely can. You've got options now. I mean, Xerxes could probably drop into there. You've got Mason Mount. You've got Christian Eriksen. No reason why you can't. No reason whatsoever. But I hope he has a good game today. I hope he sits everyone down, and I hope he scores multiple goals. And, we're talking about him. We're raving it after the game. Probably will happen knowing Bruno because he's so flippant. But I'm just saying I wouldn't be unhappy if there was rotation for him. When we tried a different kind of setup and a different approach to the final third phases. So I'm all right with that personally. I'm going to go slightly back to the back line and discuss the back four. Malacio is back in training. He was taking part in rondos, and there was a couple of other bits he was involved in. Luke Shaw's injury has been postponed again. So then you're looking at competition for places. You've got Maguire, Lindelof, and Johnny Evans fighting for that rotational spot. Plus, you've got Lenny Yoro coming back in as well. So I think at the minute, the way it's looking, you've got De Ligt and Lissandro, who are your main starters. And then when you need to rotate, you bring in Yoro or you bring in Maguire for the meantime, at least. And then when Yoro comes back, you know, if he starts performing extremely well, then maybe he'll force his way into the back line. But I think for this season, Yoro will probably play games like this if he was fit. I think he would have started 1,000,000%, and cup games as well. And then I think your Prem games and tough away games, I think De Ligt and Lissandro would probably start. But again, that's just my opinion. People may disagree with that. I think Ten Hag at the minute is still trying to balance his midfield and find the right balance in the front three. Because he's experimenting with different combinations, and we've already seen Ugarte and Casemiro, and now we're seeing Ugarte, Eriksen, Bruno. Obviously, Mainoo's not playing, which is something. You know, Mainoo's not starting. Maybe he's rotating him a little bit more. Yeah, trying to find that right energy, right balance, I think. And if I'm going off what I've seen, I quite like the one today, but based off form, I would go Ugarte just because he's a specialist in there. I would go Christian Eriksen. And I would really want to try Mount there as well. I want to try Mount, Eriksen, Ugarte. I think that'd be a really well-balanced midfield. And Mason Mount isn't one who's as wasteful as Bruno. He's a very quick thinker. You know, he gives it and goes. He looks for combinations. Very smart player and presses extremely. Probably the best presser in the team. So I would like to try that, but I've been a big advocate for Mason Mount, and I understand people are not a fan of him, and he's injury prone all the time, and I get that, but I just think it'd be really balanced midfield, and I'd like to experiment at least in these kind of games with that. Now, when we go into the forward line, again, we're still experimenting with that, aren't we? We've got Xerxes, Ahmad should be two that definitely start, I think, in that front line. I think Ahmad's nailed down that right-hand spot, and for now, Xerxes has been the go-to guy. I think he was really good against Palace as well, and probably shouldn't have been taken off. Garnacho and Rashford is a conversation, is a debate. I think them two can keep pushing each other as a competition, but Antony ain't going to get into the team. We'll see. We'll see with Rasmus. I'm sure when he's fully fit, he will. But I think the front three, you go Ahmad, you go, for me, Xerxes, and you go Garnacho. I would, personally. If Rashford starts getting back into form, then that's fine. But I think Garnacho's been a lot more consistent than Marcus Rashford has. So I would just give him the nod just ahead of him. But again, I know it's rotational in it. It's not the same team's going to play every single game. I'm just talking about if you're going with the favourites now and the most balanced, that is what I would personally go for. Nice to see so many in the chat, by the way. Please do smash a like on the video. UTFR says, agreed, Nick. Manchester's Red Forever says, without Bruno Fernandes, I feel my team's like Everton. No, I mean, if he was referencing that 3 or 4 years ago, I'd agree with you. I know what you mean. We had McFred in the midfield. Bruno was the go-to guy. He was bagging goals every game, getting assists. But right now, I disagree. Bruno and Rashford starting is a worry. Both must deliver. Sorry. Xerxes could definitely play that 10 role. 1,000,000%, mate. 1,000,000%. From a technical, fundamental perspective, he's one of the best in the team. It sticks to him when you play it into him. He's got those nice little flicks. He looks like he's the glue already and the nucleus in that attacking area. I really like Xerxes. No, Antony's not a problem, of course, but when does he get minutes? I thought he'd get minutes tonight, random. Honestly, I thought he'd be in the team tonight on that right-hand side. But like Ten Hag said, if you want to get into the team, you got to be better than the others. Is he playing better than the others at the minute? Nah. I think he'll hit a moment probably around Christmas period where you'll really start to see, games coming thick and fast. You're talking 3 or 4 games a week. You're going to have to rotate for the Carabao, for the FA Cup. I think those games is when Antony will come in. Unless it's like a tough game, if we get, Newcastle away in the Carabao or something, I can't see him starting. So, yeah, he's going to have to bide his time. You can't say he's not had his opportunities. And I know you wasn't saying that, but I just mean he's had plenty of opportunities to try and prove himself last year. And, yeah, Ten Hag stuck really loyal with him. He was behind him. And, yeah, just didn't provide. So, yeah, you got to wait your turn now. Ahmad's looking really, really good. And we've got Garnacho who can play over on there. So I think we're all right. I think we're good. Just on the tournament alone, Ten Hag spoke in his presser about the expansion of the tournament and how it affects the players, and it kind of ties into what I was talking about in terms of depth and the amount of games we're going to be playing, especially over Christmas period. And a lot of players have been on this now. Rodri mentioned it, of course, who's just torn his ACL. Bernardo Silva's been mentioning it. Rafael Varane was someone who's mentioned it quite a lot as well. Someone who's retired today, so big up Rafael Varane, knows a thing or two about Europe, of course. I did a video on that earlier today, so make sure you check that out if you haven't seen it. But yeah, players complaining about it, and you can't blame them. I know people will sit there and they'll say they're on £300,000 a week. They should be doing it. How are you moaning? I do that for, a lot of narratives around that subject. It seems to be very sensitive for whatever reason, but they are being treated like cattle, really. When you're expected, City played on Sunday against Arsenal in a game that took up a lot of mental strength and a lot of energy. And then, Walker, who was the three players? There was three players in that game who played again on a Tuesday. So they played on a Sunday midday, and then they played on a Tuesday. It's asking a lot, that, especially at the intensity, the way football is at the minute. And my concern isn't, what about the players' welfare? What if they feel tired? It's none of that stuff. It's the actual level, the quality of football drops right down. The more games you play, the less pure it is. Do you know what I mean when I'm saying that? Like, if you're playing 4 games a week, by that 4th game on a Sunday, you're playing, I don't know, fucking Crystal Palace away. What team, realistically, are you going to have out for that? It's going to be a proper bit part squad. There's going to be players that are knackered, but muscle injuries. It's going to look like our squad did last season when we had Johnny Evans and Casemiro at the back. Therefore, the quality completely drops off. So there has to be some line or some point where they go, right, you can't just do this anymore for the sake of financial gains, because it's destroying the quality and the level of football. I truly believe that. Oh, thank you very much, Steph. That's very nice of you all. Huge congratulations on reaching 7K. Very well deserved. Thank you very much. Yeah, I didn't know you mentioned that ever, to be fair. But yeah, extremely proud of that. I know there's other channels who, near 100K and stuff. We only started 2 years ago or something. So yeah, and we're only at 7K because you guys who watch, who engage, who are loyal, who join every single day and put your opinions in. And actually, we don't mention it enough. Well, we say it, a bit, but you guys are amazing, man, and we really, really appreciate it, because I wouldn't sit here right now in front of this camera and speak to it if no one was fucking watching. No one would do it, would they? Like, players, it's like COVID times when they was playing in an empty stadium. It's just not the same. So I need you guys as much as you need the content. Do you know what I'm saying? This is an equal relationship, if you want to call it that. So thank you very much. Appreciative. Same with Random saying congrats on 7K. UTFR saying, did anyone watch the under-21s last night? You can clearly see Hamas is nowhere near ready for first team. I've said this consistently. Defensively, he ain't ready. He ain't ready. He's very good on the ball. He's very good at going forward, but he needs to work on a lot of things, and that's why Ten Hag hasn't thrown him in there. I've always agreed with that. Richard Hawkins saying, yes, Nick, sorry. Congratulations on the channel. Thank you very much, mate. Appreciate that. Brian Casey as well. Congrats on 7K. Well deserved and earned. Well, you've been the longest and loyal most member. So, member for 16 months, Brian. Insane. Yeah. And he's been on the show before as well. So, yeah, appreciate that, Brian. Random guy gifted 1 real Red Start membership as well, as always. Absolute fucking legend. I don't know who received that. Steph. We haven't done a members video yet. We've been mad busy and other stuff going on in the kind of out life. You know what I mean? But we'll drop one this week, I promise you. And there's a couple of videos that I've got in mind that I want to do. Talk bullshit like Mark Goldbridge, you'll get 100K. We don't need to do that, though. It was Joey Diaz who said the famous words, right? If you get 3 loyal motherfuckers, you can take over the world. You know what I mean? So as long as we have, it can be 20 to 30 to 50, whatever it is, loyal, solid, intelligent people in the chat who know what they're talking about and like having a conversation about football and, are not just there for the clickbait shit, I'm happy with that. That's mission achieved, isn't it? This channel can go to 10K and go to 100K. Maybe it will one day, but I love doing it. Genuinely love doing it. So it doesn't matter to me. The numbers are, I think subscribers and stuff is a bit of a vanity metric in that sense, where people think because you got 100,000 subscribers, you're just instantly, you know, a boss and you're famous and blah, blah, blah. Listen, I'm telling you, YouTube is a tricky game, mate. A tricky game. So I'm just happy to kind of fill out on the content. I enjoy doing it with the lads. I enjoy doing it with you guys and a variety of content. In my wildest dreams, I feel like I'm going off on a bit of a speech here, like it's you won a BAFTA award. I'm not doing that, but I'm just, whilst I've got an opportunity to say it, because I just talk a lot of football sometimes. When I started it, we was doing like Instagram lives and Twitter spaces with some well-known people in the space. And then I just took an opportunity basically on my own to say, you know what, fuck it. I'm just going to start my own channel. I love talking about football anyway. I'm just start my own channel, see where it goes. And what we've done since we started, the people that we work with, some of the journalists that we've had on, top of the game when it comes to United, like Laurie Whitwell, Ian Irving works for the Premier League, Kieran Maguire's like the financial expert who's been on like Sky Sports and a load of other channels. Of course, we had guests who we love having on in Alice Abrahams, Jay Motti, Jonathan Schrager. I don't want to forget anyone, but we've had some really good collaborations. We've done some stuff with brands. Like I've done individual stuff with brands, but like Lad Bible. You know, just loads of little things like that where it's like you look back, you're like, oh, you know. And when you put it into perspective, you either like, you know, 7,000 people follow this channel and have subscribed and have watched the content and they've thought, you know, I'll subscribe to these. They look all right, nice lads, you know what they're talking about. So that's all I ever wanted. It's all I ever wanted, and I'm happy with that. So yeah, I will buy a membership in 2030. Okay, I'll hold you to it, mate. I'm gonna mark it down now, and in 6 years' time, I'm gonna come back to you and I'm gonna drop you a message. Manchester is red, and I'll be after you. Congrats on the 7K. That's from Craig the Unicorn. Love the name. Love that. Get Andy Tate on. I actually did a watch along with Andy Tate this year, believe it or not, on Stretford Paddock. What game was it for? I can't remember what game it was. It was me, Andy Tate, Jay, and someone else. Yeah, he's a mad guy. He's proper. He's exactly what he says on the tin. You know, when you see him on a video, he's just like that in person. You know what I mean? Very loud, very in your face. But he was nice. He was sound enough, to be fair. Andy, someone give me a bet to do tonight. I'll give you one. Because this is what I'm probably going to put on, right? So let me go back to the team. Let me have a look, just so I don't forget. So I'll go Marcus Rashford to score. Ugarte, yellow card. And I'd say getting Ericsson shot on target, Bruno shot on target, both teams to score, no. That's what I'd put on. If you don't win, don't blame me though. You know what I mean? But that's probably what I'm going to put on. Or something at least similar to that. Yeah, but I wouldn't encourage betting. I'm not that guy. Just if someone asks, then I'll say it. Do you know what I mean? Right, going back to the Europa League then, because I've ranted enough about the channel and stuff. I appreciate all the comments about that. Really do. Back to the tournament, Europa League. Are we favourites in this tournament? Should we be one of the favourites in this tournament? If not, who are? Let's dive and let's have a look at the Europa League. Europa League table. Oh shit. So we've got 36 teams in total. 1 second. To be honest, I should have this on the screen, shouldn't I? I'll sort that out for next time when I'm going through stuff like this. Ajax, Frankfurt could be there, but Ajax have been shit recently. I think Fenerbahce with Jose Mourinho is definitely one I wouldn't turn your nose up at. I think they could definitely be competitive. Galatasaray we lost to last season. And they've got a couple of good players. I mean, Osman is a starting striker for them. And they've got a few others. United, obviously, there. United and Nice would be an interesting one, wouldn't it? A very interesting one. Real Sociedad, no, I don't think so. Roma, definitely. I think they just got a new manager, haven't they? They got rid of De Rossi after like 4 days. Roma could be a threat. Tottenham are in there. I actually think Tottenham are going to go far in it. I think they could get to like semis or the final, Spurs. And then Porto, you know, for whatever people want to say about him, form at the minute, whatever it is, I think they're just one of those teams who just have, you know, well, they've got more European trophies than Spurs, aren't they? And more European trophies than a lot of teams. So Porto, I think, will be a sticky one, personally. I'll join. Sorry. Ugarte yellow card is a given, I think. Well, yeah, so bang it on, innit? That's what I'm saying. It'll still up your odds. Yellow cards always do. This 11 should throttle Twente, but I'd like to give some of the kids a chance. Bodo Glimt team look proper dangerous. I don't know if that's a joke or if that's... I don't know if you're being genuinely serious there or not. Remember, folks, let's decrease our sugar intake and up the salt. You'll be shredded in 6 months. Well, no sugar here, just Coke Zero. Yeah. I don't even like Coke Zero. Can I get a poll going? And this is just a virtual and visual poll. What do you guys think is better, Coke Zero or Pepsi Max? And there's only one right answer, and it's not what I'm drinking. That was like I was giving it away, like I always drink this. Listen, Pepsi is better than Coke. I'm not having anything. If you have a can of Coke Zero and a can of Pepsi Max, and you taste them both, Pepsi Max is miles better. Miles better. Fucking neither. I don't like either. Fair enough. Is everyone just drink tap water then? Yeah. Is that what we're on? Tap water. God damn. Are you more kind of... Let's get favourite drinks in there. I'm not talking about alcoholic beverages. Richard, before you put in... I know you're going to put a Guinness in or something. Yeah, what's favourite drinks? Top 3. Put them in. And I'll circle back to that in a minute. Right, some stats for you. You ready? So, FC Twente and Man United have never met in a European competition before. All right? FC Twente won their first and only Eredivisie title in the 2009-2010 season under coach Steve McLaren. This was a historic moment for the club as they narrowly beat Ajax by 1 point to win the championship. And FC Twente in 1974-75, they reached the final of the UEFA Cup, which is now the Europa League, but lost to Borussia Mönchengladbach in the 2010 and 2011 season. They also reached the quarterfinals of the Europa League. So they've got a little bit of history in there. They've never won anything, but they've gone quite far in the odd season, I would say. A key player to look out for in their team is I don't know how you pronounce his name, but Semstein, I think it is. 6 goals from midfield. He's been flying at the minute, so you'd have to nullify him. I think Ugarte can put that fire out. Typically playing a 4-2-3-1. You know, they're going to be hard to beat. Break on the counter, that kind of team, I'd imagine. I don't think they're going to try and dominate possession or anything. But then again, I don't watch FC Twente week in, week out. I'm just thinking they're travelling to Old Trafford. We've got the quality. The emphasis is going to be on us. They'll sit back and try and make it difficult, naturally, as a lot of teams kind of do. They had a good season last year, but a mixture of results in the start of this one. They lost to, I want to say Salzburg, I think it was, in the Champions League qualifiers, which is why they dropped down from that into the Europa League, and that's why we're playing them. They've got a very good goalkeeper in Ernestall, I think it is, German goalkeeper, one of the best in the Eredivisie. So, you know the crack, guys, when it comes to Europa League and opposition goalkeepers, you just know it, innit? You know he's going to have a worldie tonight. I remember the season under Ole when we played Ammonia, and that guy had been out for like 4 years or whatever it is, came and played out of his skin. So, that's one thing I would say. I think the goalkeeper's going to have a very good game, but watch him drop a howler. Now, excuse me, they've lost some important players as well, but they've still got a very, some good players like the goalkeeper, the attacking midfielder who I mentioned. It's a young team, it's inexperienced, and you've got, of course, the narrative that Erik ten Hag's played for him, he's coached for him, and he's got, they're in his heart, let's just say. It'd be like one of us managing against Man United, basically. So, yeah. Coke Zero, no nip only full fat Coke. I can't drink that shit. Makes my teeth feel thick. Do not like drinking that. Lingham David with a paragraph here saying, I think Erik ten Hag should put in a strong squad. The squad that's going to play against Spurs, we need consistency. So how are we going to get consistency if we don't play our players together? Porto losing against 10 men. Crazy. Who are Porto playing, by the way? Is that a curiosity? Me or water enhancer would be my favourite. What the fuck is that? Do you all have Dutch Bros in the UK? Not that I've heard of. No, what is it? Richard saying Guinness, Stella, Heineken, vodka, Irish whiskey, Black Bush. That's my soft drinks. Nice. Elite Baller, iced tea, aloe vera water, and pure juice. We've got an absolute nutritional guru there, haven't we? When Liverpool beat us, I stopped drinking 7-Up. My mate's done my head in. Stella and Heineken and arse. I'm sorry. I'm not a fan of either of them, to be honest with you. If I'm going to pick a lager, it's usually Madre, Moretti, or Estrella's all right as well. I don't mind Estrella on draft. If you cut out the caffeine, get ready for the headaches, but that's your body telling you how addictive it is. Okay, again, Craig the Unicorn's on it there. Listen to him. He's got some good advice there. Guinness and whiskey for me. Whiskey, now we're talking. I'm actually... Let me go get a bottle just to show you. So this is what I'm gonna have a couple of glasses of tonight, right? You ready for this? This is the best shit you will drink, I promise you. If you're a bourbon fan or a whiskey fan, it's elite level. So just bear with me a moment. Alright, when I tell you, yeah, this is the best bourbon on the market. I truly mean that. Right? This right here, Buffalo Trace. If anyone hasn't tried this before, obviously over 18. Excuse me. Never a live stream without me burping, is it? If you haven't tried this before, this stuff, mate, unbelievable. Unbelievable. And I'm going to have some of this whilst watching the game. So expect a bit of a mad review. But yeah, it's unbelievable. It's right up there. Top 3. I think Buffalo Trace, Woodford Reserve, and Gentleman Jack as well. Elite. Absolutely elite. If you know, you know. That's all I'll say. Right. Have we got any quotes coming in from, I would say the Manchester then. The manager. Quotes from Steve McLaren. Very bizarre. Come on. There's got to be some quotes. There's got to be some... Oh, is Chiesa starting? Have I just seen Chiesa? Yeah, Chiesa's starting for Liverpool. Wowzers. Wait, who's starting for them? Mo Salah on the bench. Is it? Yeah, he is. Oh, shit, I've got him captain as well. Bastard. Sorry, I'm just going through. Who's starting for West Ham? Tadibo starting for West Ham as well. I forgot Carabao Cup games on tonight. Completely forgot. So there's a comment on Marcus Rashford from Tenag. Well, actually, he got asked if he misses Steve McLaren. Every day I miss him every morning at breakfast. Very random. I still have many friends involved with Twente, and it would be great to welcome them and the club's fans. But I must be clear, I will not be changing the demands of my team. Now my loyalty is to United. I love that comment. Love it. On Marcus Rashford, he said, we also have to think about Garnacho. He's on the best form. He's on his best from the left as well. I thought he was good from the right last season. We're very happy that Rasmus Højlund is back and Mason Mount is back as well. Steve McLaren saying, I look at the team today, I look at the bench, and I don't think we had a team like that last year. Injuries cost us a lot. I don't know if he's an analyst on... let me have a look quickly. I don't know if he's an analyst tonight. That'd be really good if he is, because he can really give an insight. But I thought he was manager of Jamaica, innit? So surely is he not busy? Preparation start or anything? No? Let's have a look. I don't know, you guys won't be able to hear this, will you? Just double checking. I'll just have it on there in the background, just to double check. Yeah, Steve McLaren doing a madness. Must try it. Why is Saka starting? No idea. West Ham needs to start winning games. Steve Bumberclaw. But yeah, he was saying I look at the team today, look at the bench. I don't think we had a team like that last year. Injuries cost us a lot. On scoring goals, he says, I think United now, the wingers need to contribute, the midfielders need to contribute as well. Absolutely agree with that. Yeah. Well, you got Hargreaves on punditry, so I can't see no Steve McLaren. Maybe it's from his interview or something, I'm not sure. I like Owen Hargreaves as a pundit, though. I have to be honest. Yeah. Anyway, right. Should we do some score predictions? Maybe something to keep an eye on? What are we going with, guys? I know there's a few people saying that they're going to put some bets on or whatever. But let's get the score predictions in right now. And let's give me 3 things. So, the score prediction, someone to get a yellow card, and who's going to score. Them 3 things, right? So I'll give my 3 first, and I'll dive into all yours. I'm going to take you a while typing and all that business. I'm going to go score prediction. I'm going to go bold. You ready for this? I'm going to go 4-0. Marcus Rashford double. Ugarte yellow card. That's 3 in it. There's my 3. I think Marcus Rashford gets a brace. I think United win 4-0. And I think Ugarte gets a yellow card. That's what I'm going with. UTFR says 3-0 to United. Craig the Unicorn says 1-0 United. Xerxes with a goal. Ugarte yellow. Everyone's going Ugarte yellow. It's just the obvious one, isn't it? There was a period I remember where Bruno Fernandes was getting fucking loads of yellow cards, and I'm pretty sure he got suspended for it at some point. He had a period where he was just moaning at everything, and when you was putting bets on, you'd be like, Bruno's getting a yellow, 1,000,000%. So he'd probably get one. Richard is with me on the boldness. Everyone going to clean sheet as well, which is nice. 3-0, Ahmad scores and Maguire gets booked. That's from UTFR. Richard saying United 5-0, Ugarte for yellow, Xerxes hat-trick. That'd be nice. I think someone can come off the bench and score as well. I think Erasmus can come off the bench and score. Garnacho can come come off the bench and score. Yeah. And I'd love to Ahmad, likewise, and there to score as well. I think that'd be great. And there's some good predictions in there. I'm a fan. I like it. I like it. I like it. Da 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 da. Oh, rocking all over the world. Bam, bam, bam. Oh, that's a little bit behind that. Just talking about how SC20's weakness is in the transition. Should be able to kill him then, shouldn't you? Should be able to kill him then. That's what I say. Right, I'm going to let you lovely individuals go get yourselves a whiskey or an aloe vera drink in Elite Baller's case, or whatever it is, whatever your poison is. Please do go and enjoy yourself a drink. Go and watch the game. Gather your notes, gather your thoughts, because we're going to be live straight after it as well. I'm talking like 5 minutes after the game. So come and join me in your assessment. I'd love to see as many of you as I can. We'll be having a whiskey. I think it's just me tonight on because you've got, I think, 2 of the lads are at the game. Sam's had an emergency situation he's had to go sort out. So it's just going to be me. So I'm going to be on my own. So please do come and join me. We'll have a drink. We'll have a chat. And hopefully we're discussing and we're raving about, a win, a 4-0 win or whatever. So yeah, appreciate you guys. I'll see you.